Hello YouTube, and here is my review video for the Sure Predict pregnancy test. Okay, you can get these on Amazon.com, and you just type in Sure Predict pregnancy test, and they should just pop right up. They're actually, I think they're a little bit cheaper than the Wanfos. And I know a lot of people like the Wanfo, but I tell you what, I really like these better than the Wanfo. And part of that is because these are 10 MIU, and you see they show right there that it's 10 MIU, which is about on par with the first response early results that everybody loves. And what I've found is I think they work just as good, if not better, than the first response, because last cycle, when I had the chemical pregnancy, or when I had the second one, I had these tests, and I was testing with these, and I was able to get so many of them for really cheap. So I was able to start testing at 7 DPO, and I was testing every day. And it's funny, I had gotten a positive on these probably about a day or so before I got a positive on the first response. And I actually, when I finally did get a positive on a first response, the Sure Predict was actually still darker than the first response. And actually, I just now opened one and tested it with water. And the reason I tested it with water was because when we were trying to conceive, when I got pregnant with Timothy, I had clinical guard pregnancy tests, and which I'll do a review on those, but basically I had gotten positives with my tap water with the clinical guard pregnancy tests. But this one is not showing any kind of line at all with tap water, which is really good, because that was something I'd be worried about. But anyway, the Sure Predict, like I said, they're cheap, and they're 10 MIU, which is on par with first response. When I used them, I got a positive on these before I even got a positive on a first response, and it was darker on the Sure Predict than it was on the first response. And also, one of the things that I really like is that the directions that come with these tests, it actually has a section on there that actually talks about early testing, which I think is really good, because it basically talks about chemical pregnancies and how the earlier you test and get positives and stuff, to bear in mind the percentage rate of chemical pregnancies. And I think the way they put it was the natural termination of a pregnancy. And honestly, I really like that, because on the first response, I've never seen it in the directions anywhere where it has basically a warning or a disclaimer about the possibility of detecting a chemical pregnancy. And so it kind of gives people, or gives women, a heads up about early testing and whatnot. Part of the drawback, I'd say, with these is, which actually kind of, in some ways, is actually a positive also, but it takes a while for these tests to fully, run through. And so if you're looking to test and get the result quickly, within 2 or 3 minutes, these will probably frustrate you. But they're pretty accurate. But the good thing about that is most tests tell you to read the test within 5 minutes or around 5 minutes, and do not read after 10. These tests in the directions say that the latest the earliest to that you should see results within 5 minutes, but to get your clear result at 10 minutes. And then it says don't read after 30 minutes. So it actually gives you a wider time frame for it to fully run through. In fact, I don't know if you can see it if you've been watching it, but this last little wave of dye has been moving through while I've been talking. because I just dipped this like, oh gosh, about 6 minutes ago. And so you can see that last little bit of dye. So that's why it says, you get your full results at 10 minutes, but then not to read after 30 minutes. Whereas most tests, like I said, say to read between 3 and 5 minutes and not read it after 10. So you do have a nice window. But if you're looking for getting your results in a shorter amount of time, these are probably going to frustrate you. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the Sure Predict. I highly recommend these. If you normally use Wanfo, I mean, unless you're like brand loyal, then I would say switch to these, because these are more sensitive, and they're just as good as a first response, only much cheaper. And I think, if I remember correctly, some of the places where I found these on Amazon were cheaper than Wanfo's. So, but anyway, that's the Sure Predict pregnancy test.